Thank you for tuning into the Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Arael Marrocco. Peter is the director of the 12th Division of the ACIO, Advanced or Alien Contact Intelligence Organization. Jessica is a galactic liaison and interdimensional seer. Together, they will discuss the most current updates from the ACIO, Council of Five, and other extraterrestrial sources. Make sure to post your questions and comments below. Disclosures, insider intel that keeps you updated with planetary changes.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Disclosures. We will be talking about the third version of the third part of this series regarding Dark Fleet and some of the different issues that are connected to it. We started to conclude last show. We were talking about Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes, and so that's what we're going to jump into today. And before we get started, I want to introduce you to Peter to say hello, and then we can begin the show.
I want to say hello to you, Jessica, and to all of our listeners.
Okay, so thanks for being here, Peter. So I'm going to jump right in, and we're going to start sharing the screen and looking at some of the things that have been going on. And here we go. And so we're going to start off with Dark Fleet. And remember, this is the core of our conversation, and we've talked about all the different things that you noticed, the spacecraft, and some of the different vehicles that they use. And so many people are involved in Dark Fleet right now, or at least being affected by it, and we'll get more into that in the next show.
I want to say not get involved. They are directly involved. Yes. Or not to be affected. They are directly involved, and that's the problem, that either they don't believe it, or they don't know it, or like 50-50, like they are not fully aware, or whatever, or they believe that it's something good. It's fine to be in. I mean, to be involved. It's let's say, how can we name it? Positive agenda or whatever. Holy crap! I mean, so many disinformation, misleadings. I mean, holy crap! This is serious.
It is really serious because it's impacting the way people are thinking, the decisions that they're making, their alliances that they have, which are not natural for their soul journey and why they're here. And so it's influencing them in a way that it's unnatural, which will have probably a long impact on their personal lives, not necessarily to the positive, and as well as then being in alliance with something that may actually be detrimental for our planet. And so I think that's the part that, becoming more aware, embracing personal decisions, sovereignty, and finding your way through this, understanding that if you were a part of this or are a part of this, that you can appreciate the experience and being associated with a very old group of old super soldier program, but on the other hand, understanding that they have an agenda that is not considering humanity in a positive light, seeing us as something.
It's sorry for interrupting you. I know it's incorrect, but from this point of view, let's make it clear, okay? It's like from them, like from their perspective, it's like, I'm making good parallel, good example. You are on train station, big train station. You are sitting, there on the branch, and you can see trains coming through, and other ones, they are standing there, they are starting to move, or I don't know, like third group of them, they are braking because they need to stop, and that's it. And try to take it from this way. You are sitting on the branch on the train station. You can see that trains are moving. So there is no doubt that you are sitting on the branch. Earth is quotes in quotes quiet, not moving. Trains are moving. But once you are inside the train is moving. It's like, what in the world is going on? It's nonsense. I am sitting here inside the train, and everything, let's say anything else around me is moving. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's hard to determine what is right and what isn't. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's strongly dependent which kind of perspective we are looking at certain things. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. So it creates a distortion in time-space.
Exactly, this is it.
In the perspective of the viewer, so the viewer is in a I would say illusion, right? Illusion of what is real for them.
Exactly.
I mean, not to say that it does exist, but it's what they're projecting.
Yes, it's pretty much as I said. It's like, okay, that's good for them, but very bad for us, or good influence from there, but very bad influence from our point of view. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's it.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna resume our conversation regarding Dark Pictures House of Ashes.
Yes, Dark. Give me a second. Dark, because full name of the game is Dark Pictures Anthology. Just by the way.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Just let's make it clear. Do you know what I mean? This is a very strong game. I mean, like with the extremely strong story. The storyline is massive, if you want to call it that way. And I don't want to spoil if someone wants to play the game, but so I will not go into details. I don't want to go into details, but what I will say, definitely, you've got 2-in-1 game. It's this type of game. So till the certain point, you've got one game, and from the certain point, it's completely different experience. I just want to say that because this is very important. Okay.
And as when we provide information regarding a video game, it is because it is influencing our reality, our context of existence, because this is self-disclosure.
Yes, this is not self-disclosure. This is hard disclosure.
Hard disclosure. Okay.
This is hitting us really hard. This is like, holy crap, like next level. Holy crap, like next level stuff.
And you can see, I mean, it's gory, bloody. We're going to get into, there's Rachel King, who is the field officer.
Yeah.
The CIA field officer. And let's get into the storyline and what exactly happens.
No, I don't know if, I mean, should we go into the storyline? Because I don't, but technically it's already out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This would, I mean, it's not it doesn't interfere with playtime. So we can go in there and take a look at it. So here is at the end of the Iraq War. So this is during the Iraq War, and you know there were many of our.
Please give me a second. No. In the start, in the beginning of Iraqi freedom, the second operation, American operation, because this is this is situated in 2003.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the end. The end was 2011. So
okay,
no.
This is what it says here. So it says the end of the Iraq War. So that's what they're saying for the game. So you're saying it happened in 2003?
Because look at that. The plot main game, it's 2003, and 2003 officially was if you go to wiki, for example, and if you hit in the search bar Iraqi freedom operation, Iraqi freedom, if you don't believe me, maybe.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I just didn't know when this is supposed to.
Operation Iraqi freedom. Yeah, Iraqi freedom. And if you can see it, it's yeah, you can see it. 2003 to 2011. I am not making fun from it.
No, but I'm just reading what this is saying here. So you have this information. All I did was read that. I wasn't, because according to them, that's when it started, is towards the end.
Give me a second. Technically, the timeline, or respectively, the whole context was slightly changed. I mean, for the purpose of the game. Okay, let's
so you're letting us know that it actually happened early on, not towards the end.
Yes.
Yeah, not like what they're saying. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So they said special forces hunting for weapons of mass destruction unearthed something far deadlier. So they saw that the Iraqi government was hiding something there, and they assumed that it was weapons of mass destruction, which was very controversial. I remember this, and there was comments about it. And so instead, they find a buried Sumerian temple containing a nest of ancient and unearthly creatures. To survive the night below, they must forge a brotherhood with their enemies from the world above.
Yeah.
And so
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So it starts out, here's the prologue. The Akkadian Balathu is about to kill Gudea Kurum as a sacrifice, but is stopped by a guard who says that the king is demanding his presence. In the throne room, Naram Sin says the sacrifices are needed to win the battle against Gudeans, starting with the Gudean woman, and after killing her, Balathu is sent to battle. At the same time, Kurum manages to escape from the cage by killing the guard. Then there's an eclipse that begins, and with it the battle of the Akkadians and the Gudeans, which leads to the awakening of something sinister underground. Balathu and Kurum meet again in the throne room and form an alliance, trying to escape through the catacombs. However, they are attacked by a creature, and despite attempts to fight back and escape, they presumably die.
Yeah.
So here's this battle between the Akkadians and the Gudeans, and then we were talking about this Naram Sin, and Naram Sin. So here's this ancient battle that goes on. Then there is an eclipse, and then during the main game, it jumps forward into time, and you see the prologue ends. The player is then introduced to the curator, who introduces himself and explains the game's mechanics. In the present-day Iraq, the U.S. military gathers at Camp Slayer. Lieutenant Colonel Eric King, his wife and CIA field officer Rachel King, Rachel's lover, Sergeant Nick Kay, First Lieutenant Jason Kolchak, Corporal Nathan Merwin, Eric's assistant, Dr. Clarice Stokes, and Lance Corporal Joey Gomez. They all gather in the briefing room, where Eric explains that with the help of Salus, a satellite program he developed, something like an underground storage facility was found in the military zone where chemical weapons can be stored. Having explained the plan of action and prepared, the squad is sent to target LZ. Meanwhile, Iraqi Lieutenant Salim Othman comes home with a present for his son Zain on his 18th birthday. However, he is approached by Captain Dar Basri, who informs him that the Americans are coming, forcing Salim to go into battle. Upon arrival, the U.S. military inspects the huts for an entrance to the underground, but it is attacked by an Iraqi patrol, killing Joey. Suddenly, an earthquake starts, plunging both Americans and the Iraqis into the underground of Zagros Mountains. While both sides explore around the caverns trying to find a way out, they encounter sinister creatures that hunt them. Meanwhile, Rachel and Eric stumble upon Naram Sin's temple and discover the remains of a group of British archaeologists known as the Randolph Expedition. Before being ambushed by Dar, Eric and Rachel will then try to escape through a giant chasm, which both of them get involved in a tough situation. Eric can be killed here, while Rachel will always fall into a chasm nevertheless. The player meets the curator again, who briefly discusses the relationship between the characters and the fate of Rachel, Eric, and Merwin. He also offers a bit of advice to the player, saying that the path from hell to the light is long and hard. Eric then reunites with Nick and Jason. Suddenly, someone sabotages the generator, and having repaired it, the group begins to search the ruin in search of an invader. To Nick's surprise, they hear Joey, and looking for him, stumble upon Dar. During the skirmish, Dar causes a small collapse, separating Nick and others. Walking through the caves, he finds another creature, but Salem catches him. He says that they must work together, thanks to which they manage to kill the creature. Eric and Jason take their place, and everything can lead to the fact that Salem is taken prisoner. He manages to secretly escape, or he kills Eric. Back at the temple, Nick and Jason fortify the temple by placing bombs. At the same time, Eric interrogates Salim, but the conversation turns to relatives, or does an autopsy of the creature's body. Using the UV lamp that Eric wanted to use for inspection, he accidentally sets the creature on fire. Rachel is shown surviving the fall by landing in a pit of blood, trying to find a way out. A creature begins to chase her, but Clarice saves her, blocking the passage. They climb to the top of the chasm, but halfway through the path, Clarice becomes ill, and Rachel notices a movement in her throat and realizes that she has been infected by the creatures. At the top, they realize that the chasm is on the other side, but Rachel gets there with a rope. Clarice may get across the chasm while trying to cross the chasm, but abandoned by Rachel, or voluntarily refuses to go, knowing that she can't be healed and she may hurt someone else. While examining the outside of the temple, Jason and Nick find an electric pole and offer to use a radio. At this point, Jason is attacked by Joey, who has become infected. Eric arrives to his aid and uses a UV lamp on Joey, who lights up and falls into a chasm. And when he falls, the guys realize that there is a swarm of creatures below. While patrolling the perimeter, Nick finds an archaeologist's radio. It turns on to be broken, and Nick can try to fix it, but it will fail. Or the healed Merwin will help them and fix the radio. The Americans will be able to call air support. However, during the repair, the radio begins to beep endlessly, attracting the attention of the creatures. Moreover, they are again attacked by Dar, and during the shootout, Merwin dies and Eric can die. The group escapes the temple and begins to close the door, and then they hear Rachel and let her in with Clarice if she was not abandoned. And then Eric realizes that Rachel was cheating on him with Nick and starts beating each other, and they start beating each other. But Rachel manages to defuse the situation. If Clarice went with Rachel, she will feel bad again upon learning that she is infected, and Jason decides to kill her, but Rachel can dissuade him. The creatures try to get into the temple, and while the guys are holding the door, Rachel runs to fix the generator, which starts to shut down again. The group escapes into the catacombs before this firing back with the creatures who have made their way during the escape. Rachel and Eric may die. Having destroyed the hallway, the group reaches the sacrificial chamber where they again face the Iraqis. Hearing the approach of the creatures, the heroes head to the next room, but Clarice again becomes ill and continue to be taken with them or abandoned. In the chamber, the group is ambushed by a swarm of creatures, and they begin to fight back, and while doing so, they also encounter the Ancient One who is infected, Belathu Karum. The group is then quickly wiped out by the creatures. Dar dies, and Eric can be killed by Clarice while Salim escapes. Jason and Salim meet and decide to work together. They find some cells which they become archaeologists, which have become the archaeologists' medical bay, from which they descend the caves and find an elevator leading deep down. Before descending, Jason leaves a mark in the rest of the protagonists. The curator intervenes, again comments on the relationship of the characters and their fate, and sends the player back to the game. I could keep on reading. You can see this quite a bit here. The ending, the camp slayer, the two people known as Miller and Brooks, arrive to discover the remains of the vampires, while also the witness of the interrogation and the heroes, whoever dies, has their body laid on the body bag in the table, and they claim that the government has covered up this incident, which we know that things like this, Peter, they cover up, don't they? They don't reveal what actually happened. It's sort of, they'll say what, it's weapons, or they found something else related to the military.
Yeah, it's absolutely usual. It's normal. In those, it's like those procedures. It's normal.
And
Once
that's
something like this happened, it's normal for them to do such a stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and this.
What?
So you start looking. Well, you start looking at the story. So it's really very interesting. It's more interesting than some of the video games that I've seen, because you're bridging time space. So you have something that's actually from an ancient time, and then it comes into the present time. I have been talking about vampires for a while.
But give me a second. Can we go to the characters?
Now let's go to the characters, but
because all of them, I know all of them, and they are real people. Just by the way, and I don't know why. To be perfectly honest, it's very dangerous to get all of them in the game. Just by the way, it's crazy.
We'll start with Eric King.
You know what? He's jackass. I don't know. He's jackass. I hate him. I don't know. It's a kind, he wants to control everything. He he got certain position, certain rank, and he believes that he can control all over. He can control everything, everybody, all kind of those things, and I don't know what the heck should I. It's bad.
So do they listen to you?
Who? Those people?
Yeah. So
yeah. Why?
So are they? Is it you're interacting with them in the astral, or you're interacting with them?
No. In this context of existence. Why are you asking?
Okay. No, it's just asking. So we'll go back, and we'll go through each character. That's his wife.
And technically, the fact is, he's doing those very extremely like unstable experiments and all kind of those things. And they were, I mean, the Rachel, she, you know, she was stuck with in unhappy marriage with him. And to be perfectly honest, I am absolutely not surprised that she went into another love story with an, I mean, that she get, this need to be edited, that she get into another relationship with someone who really deserve her attention and all kind of that stuff. Because okay, technically Eric is from the army, you know, she's from intelligence agency, from CIA, and I really like Nick. I mean, Nick K. He's very good guy. I mean, can we go there?
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say this is Ashley Tisdale. She's an actress. So is this what they look like?
She's not. She's Rachel. Just by the way.
So Ashley, the one that we see on TV and some of the kids shows.
Yep. I really like Nick. He's a good guy, very friendly, you know, kind. He's never ever doing such any sort of bad things. And I don't know, I've got good vibes from him, you know. And that's kind of stuff like many people don't trust those guys because they are from special unit. I'm talking about Nick and maybe Jason we can get. And they believe that they are tricky and all kind of those things. Nope. Yeah, Jason. Oh,
Jason Kolchak.
Yeah, he's crazy. I like his specific style of humor. Yeah. Mailman guy, yep. So long story short, like they are from special units, like elite from the elite, you know, and it was always pleasure to do the jobs with them. Technically, we are in contact too, and the problem of those guys are they are too reliable, and people don't like those. Because, you know, once you can't do or you are too lazy to do your job, or you are incapable of doing your job as you should or whatever, people can get very jealous easy, extremely easy. And they are, people are jealous at Nick, at Jason, you know, all kind of those things. I don't know, we were talking about certain stuff. There are certain agents and soldiers from special units, and sometimes they don't know basic stuff. And we almost start to laugh, like, no, we can't with certain, like, you know, spit what we have inside our mouths, and we start to laugh because it's like, holy crap, how the hell you guys ended up here? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's BS. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you are in certain level,
yeah,
you need to know certain procedures, how to operate the weaponry equipment and whatever. And it's like, sometimes, you know, I don't know, like, for example, yeah, he can shoot, he got very good accuracy or whatever, but that all of his, let's say, the only quality, and this is not the true. And as I said, Nick and Jason, both of them very good guys. I like them. I like their humor. Oh man, yeah, brothers in arms, you know.
Yeah, very good soldiers. You can see that
Yeah,
when the way they're operating.
yeah.
So, and we already looked at Nick Kay and Nathan.
Marvin, you know, Marvin is a weirdo. He's not bad, definitely not bad, but he's some sort of, how we can call it, like black humor. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes, let's say, you don't know, like, where he's serious and when he's saying something just for fun. And what is the basic problem here is fact that he's making fun from something. Even in the army, you know, environment definitely shouldn't be make fun from. And it's kind of, it's like,
Kind of laughing at the wrong time and that sort of thing.
yes, it's pretty
Yeah.
much like Gary or Jerry. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? Hey, where the heck you are? Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's good. He's good, but this side of his nature, of his temperament. Um, I mean, after certain time, I get used to it. But for strangers and randomers, it's kind of, do you know what I mean? It's like someone will never get used to it.
Yeah. But it probably, you know, does some people act that way when they're nervous or they're in a difficult situation? It
And you
helps
know
them
what
to
I
deal with
mean?
it.
We was at the, as you said, cadaver, but technically and we don't know who went at who first. It was some sort of coyote or whatever, but back. And two soldiers, and there was flesh and blood and whatever everywhere. And he was like, I'm so hungry. And I was, what in the fucking world are you doing, man? You know it will, this sting, this smell, whatever. And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, what? I'm just hungry, Jesus Christ. Oh man. And he was eating, just by the way, for real. He was eating.
Yeah, that, you know, the people that do work in funeral homes are like that. They have that dark humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. When I was in college, there was a program so that they had people for funerary services, and we happened to be have a class or something in their building, and they all invited us in for food, and and we were all like, oh great, there's food here, and so we're looking around, and the guy's just smiling at us. I said, is that a real dead body right there? They
Yes,
had that,
yes.
yeah. And it's like, oh my God. And they were like, oh, we do it all the time. And they were saying all sorts of really crazy, very dark things. And
And they were like, nah, it's not a big deal, man.
yeah,
I mean, it's. Do you know what I mean? I'm used for. I don't want to say I like violence. Definitely not. But I will not eat, man. I will not eat.
yeah, when there's that
No.
kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
What is this
So
mailman? Mailman 2-1.
look at that. Look at that. Mailman is specified unit.
Oh, okay.
High classified unit. Yeah. Highly classified unit. Yeah.
You can see that there because I saw that there was a few of them. This one's mailman 2-1, actual leader, and then there's a mailman 3.
Yeah.
Is that another unit?
No. I'm just saying, Nick K. I like him too much. I like him so much. I will just say, let's say he's something like, I don't know, like he's African American. This first guy, he's something like Lincoln Clay, you know, very good guy. They are, I mean, like similar build, very big muscular guy, and with
He's not as
kind.
tall as Lincoln Clay, though, right? Isn't Lincoln Clay really tall?
No. Give me a second. He's only slightly shorter. He's like, let's say, 1 inch shorter. So he's very big, you know, and always follow all kind of fun and all kind of those things, you know. Very kind to another people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, let's say, another stuff with Jason. He's some sort of patriotic-ish type, you know. I don't want to say Nick is not, and I'm saying, you know, and they are making very good team. Mailman, and their mailman unit, it's very good. I'm just saying, it's very good. Always pleasure to cooperate with. And this woman, Clarice, holy crap, I don't know what the heck should I think about. She's a doctor, but always so...
Vampire.
No,
She
I mean,
becomes a vampire.
give me a
Yeah.
second. Always, you don't know what in the world is going in her head. It's so weird. It's so weird. Something is wrong with her. And just by the way, she's not dead, of course, and in the game. But I'm just saying, it is so weird.
She gets infected. She gets infected.
Give me a second.
Right?
No, I mean, in game, yes, but not in the
Real life.
real world.
Okay.
But this is so crazy. Jesus, man, I don't know. And sometimes, once I remember, she almost hit me with the Victorinox, you know, Swiss knife, and that was it. Because I need to practice my aiming. Jesus Christ, you know.
Challenged you.
No, I was eating. Jesus Christ. I was eating, and there was this slot between my hand, you know, and my head. And then she was like, shh, holy crap, what the heck are you doing, girl, man? You know, and that was, you know, those things in the hanging on the wall, and she started laughing like insane, like crazy person, you know. And I was like, what the heck is wrong with you, girl? And she was like, you know, and I was like, what? Hey, don't take it too serious. I was just practicing my aiming skills. Jesus Christ. She's so crazy. She's weirdo. Oh man. But I mean, technically, of course, her favorite TV show is Big Bang Theory, you know. So.
Oh, so she's pretty smart.
Give me a second. She is smart, no doubt about that. But I don't know. They were driving, I don't know, like almost 90 miles per hour, or maybe even faster, and she was, or at least she tried to hit the moving target. So moving and moving. Holy crap, what the heck are you doing? Do you want to kill us or whatever? Give me a second. It will be not a big deal once the target will not be full with the fucking C4s. C4, like explosive.
Yeah.
Jesus. And technically, your goal was to hit in the middle. And in the middle, you cannot hit the trigger system for C4s. Jesus Christ! I mean, are you serious? Oh man, she's crazy. Because she said that, you know, I am so lonely. I don't have any excitement in my spare time.
So Peter, you were there when this whole thing opened up and you saw the vampires and all of this activity regarding the Naram Sin?
Yeah. So technically, this game is based not only at my, I don't know what I said, but I said certain things too, and they made it about the whole stuff, the storyline, the, let's say,
Do you
the
have a
plot.
character here that's you?
Nope.
But
Nope.
you added information.
Mm-hmm.
It happened.
Yep, definitely.
Here is Joey Gomez.
Yeah, and Joey Gomez, he's pretty much in the same level as Clarice. I mean, according the temperament and all kind of those things, but he's definitely not that crazy. Crap. I
mean,
know.
all of them are in a very strange situation, and when you start seeing what the vampires look like, they're kind of extremely intimidating.
Yeah, but give me a second. I'm talking about the situation or the stuff, what happened before the whole incident started, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know.
And so did you
Oh man.
he's also part of the mailman squad.
Yep. Yeah. Mailman 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, to be perfectly honest, I am kind of surprised. Oh no, they gave it wrong code. That's fine. Because mailman, it's actual, I mean, real unit, very secret. They are, let's say, that level of secrecy like Black Ops slash Spats Ops, right? But they didn't give right code. So 2-1 doesn't exist. There was, let's say, it does exist only for certain specific operation, and it is very seldom used, this code. But regularly for quotes regular Spats Ops or Black Ops operations, they are not using 2-1 code. Not. But actually, I'm kind of surprised they actually used the real name, like Mailman. You know, it's kind of crazy for me. I mean, because this is, from my point of view, this is not soft disclosure. This is hard disclosure. Holy crap. This is not level of soft disclosure. Crap. Oh man. This is hard disclosure from my point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, as soon as they give that kind of information out to the public, then that means that they have new names maybe initiated.
Do you know? I don't think so, because nobody knows their real names.
No, I mean, as far as like the mailman. You know.
Yeah, you mean that? Yeah, but technically, the game is out, what, like 1 month already? 1 month, I think.
Yeah, I don't know when it actually. Yeah, it did come out probably about a month ago. Yeah, you told me about it.
Yeah, so fact is that you know, they don't care about the code names or whatever, because they always use always used. I mean, not they as people as personnel, but mailman is fine. But they always used like 2-1 or 3-4 or whatever. So long story short, they used all of wide variety code numbers and whatever. I'm just saying, okay, that's it. Yes, Kalius, it's very weird project, and it didn't end up well.
Yeah, it's one of the
And
projects
I
developed by
just
Eric.
want to say about last guy, I think we went off track. Please, can we go back? That's my problem.
Joey Gomez.
Yeah, he's kind of this smart guy too. And fact is, he's doing, like, yeah, he went vampire, but in the game only. He's doing some sort of technical support things, whatever. But I think he's a spy because even Rachel is suspicious about him. And I don't want to say spy like for another side, for I don't know, like UK, because technically even allies, once they are not from US Army or whatever US intelligence agencies, one of them, everybody can be considered as a spy. So not only for, I don't know, like for UK or for Russia, for China, whatever, but Russia, this need to be edited, sorry guys, but the Rachel is very suspicious, and she believed, or I don't know, maybe she doesn't believe right now, but at the time, once this happened, she believed that he was working for DARPA, and those guys are really jackasses, because he was very weird. Very weird. I'm just saying,
Yeah, like acting sketchy when people are doing stuff that they know that they're not with the team completely.
Yeah.
You can pick up that kind of sketchy behavior.
Yep.
And squirrely, however you want to call it.
Yes. And just by the way, we ended up in Salim, with Salim, sorry, my bad. Yeah, and do you know what is crazy? He's from Iraqi army, and he is good guy. Really good guy, because it doesn't it absolutely doesn't mean that he's from, just because he's from opposite side, that he's bad. But that's the problem. People are creating barriers, I am from this side, you are from that side. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, the barriers between the two governments. I mean, technically, when the soldiers get together, they understand that, that both sides are usually in a similar situation. They're serving their government.
Yeah.
That they are just being soldiers. They're doing what they're being told to do. And they have families, and yeah, they all have that shared something in the background. So in this case, because Salim's from the area, he helps them out. He shows them where to go and gives them information regarding the mountain.
As you said, exactly.
Yeah. So he becomes very helpful in that sense in the game. But it's to remind us, the human part of this, because people are soldiers, but they're fighting against one another, and then it creates
what is total, and I will not watch my language, what is total bullshit, because technically once they start to face those, whatever they are, creatures or I don't know what, vampires, call them as you like, they finally realize that they need to cooperate, because once they will be turned on each other, they will only lose. Like it or not, it's true.
Right. And yeah, because and look at the tensions that we have around the world, just even in the US because of this. We have people coming over from other countries that were war torn, and they saw what soldiers did under the leadership of the
Yes, and
military,
that's
and then they think that we're bad.
that's the problem. That's the problem because I don't know, many people will blame Americans. I mean, you know, soldiers, but technically it is like you can't blame the soldiers. I mean, you know, some soldiers are very bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of it. This is real problem. I need to admit this is problem. But fact is, most of them are normal, and they are just doing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? What they supposed to do, and you can't blame. How can we say it? Like, I don't know.
You can't blame them for just
Yes,
following
you
orders.
can't blame common people for government's actions. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? This is it.
Absolutely.
This is
This
it.
this guy was working with Salim, right? Um,
This is another story. Yeah, he was very no, I don't want to to say something bad because he was really he was pain in the ass.
yeah, he
That's
wasn't very helpful.
yes,
Yeah.
because that's the stuff like SS, like Schutzstaffel in I mean technically before and in the during the Second World War, SS units in Wehrmacht in German army, they need to swear that they will do only what Hitler will command. And Dar, he is from this unit, you know, that they only they will obey only Hussein's, you know, commands. That's I just want to say, okay, this is so this was total different case.
Right.
I'm just saying, okay, that's it.
Yeah. Yep. And that there again, that can happen to any military. But
Yeah,
yeah, you have that extreme behavior. Uh, and I think those are all of the characters. I think they have
yeah.
something here with the briefing
I think
room.
you are I think you are right. That's the stuff.
Yeah. Let's get into so the story and what happens with let's say Naram Sim.
Do you know what? I will say you something. Let's do it. This will be on you, and I don't want to say like, no, I don't. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't want to talk about that, but I will say you something, and I will be very honest with you. I am not expert in those fields and whatever, so you will talk about that because I've got no goddamn clue. No, no. Mm-mm.
Well, we have the Akkadian Empire. This is where it starts, and so there's a difference between the Akkadians and um, the other group that was there at the time. There was more than one group, right, Peter?
Yeah, that's
The
true.
Anunnaki. So the Akkadians
Oh
are different
man,
from the
oh, of
Anunnaki.
course you are right. Yes, you are right. Yeah.
People seem to think that they're the same because they're both ancient Sumerian. And this guy in particular was one of the leaders. And it's very interesting. He has like an eye missing there. And I always thought that was symbolic of maybe something that happened. But the, it just pretty much goes over the time period when the Akkadian Empire was existing. And it goes into, they're talked about in the...
I need to ask you something, Jessica. What do you think about those, how we can say, entities? Are those stories and legends only, or can be something like that real at that time? Because I'm not expert in that. Because it's kind of weird from my point of view that from my what I think, right? That something or someone, I don't know, I think that some of them were, let's say, on personal level, they were partially humans or whatever, that something, it is based on something real. But I am not expert in this field, and I want to ask you, what do you think, or what do you know from your personal experiences, if those entities can be real from that span, like time period? We are talking about what, like 4,200 years ago, or 4,300 years ago. So I just want to ask you, what is your
it's the 24th and 22nd century BC.
What is your personal opinion about that?
Well, I'm just going to validate what's going on in the game. I want to point out that people have heard about the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's related to Akkadian writing, and the King of Uruk. I mean, we have, if you've got involved in any type of Bible historical information, because the Bible it is a history book. For as much as we can gather, especially the Old Testament, which was closely guarded regarding the content and not tampered with by governments and so forth. I mean, the Hebrew version was very, very protected. But when it get into the New Testament, it becomes more faulty.
So, give me a second. You are saying that the Old Testament is, I don't want to say 100%, but extremely closely to 100% original, right?
Yes.
Old Testament,
yes,
right?
Because they would, if like there was one letter that was off, they would just discard the whole book. I mean, they're very particular.
Give
they
me
knew
a second.
the
One letter.
Just one letter was incorrect. They would throw out they would destroy the whole book because they didn't want to have anything altered. But with the New Testament, there was no one really to guard that. And the New Testament, they, of course, there were different political influences, and still to this day.
Give me a second. What I know, according my knowledge, New Testament was totally screwed during the First Council of Nicaea.
Yeah.
And it was like in 20s of 4th century. That was heavily edited. So technically you can't get real content of New Testament, what I know exactly. That's my knowledge, but I don't know if I'm sure.
It's true. I think that the last book that was written was from the last apostle that was alive was John the Beloved on the Isle of Patmos, and during that time he wrote the book of Revelation. So after that, this council came in. They were the followers, and they started to put together information. And then there were other books called the Apocrypha that was excluded. They started to decide what belonged there.
And give me a second. That's my question. How the heck this happened? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they start to decide. Okay, yes, this is fine. No, this is not. Do you know what I mean?
I think some of them had known some of the apostles, and so that's where they got information that they were able to legitimize some of them, some of the writings and the source of where they came from. So like, the book of Mark, maybe someone knew the book of who Mark was, and John the Beloved, and who Thomas was, and they just kind of gathered all of the different information, Matthew and so forth. And so the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that whole series, and they all pretty much tell the same story, but from a different perspective, right?
So you mean like they've got it? Okay, those four are the closest to the. Okay,
yeah,
I
so
got you.
then you have,
Okay.
some kind of basis where you have, four different apostles telling their story from their perspective,
But
and
it
then
is pretty much the same story.
same story, but maybe one had a piece of information, the other one didn't have that information, and so you have all of those books coinciding.
Okay. That
And
makes
and
sense
and,
for me. Okay,
and then
okay.
after they died, there were those that were just a part of the belief system that they organized this council, the Nicaea, anti-Nicaea, and then there was a
Yeah.
post-Nicaea group. And if you look, I remember looking at the books, and we're talking about a huge catalog of books. I mean, I don't know how many. It had to be like 20 books or something. It was just like
No.
hardback,
Please,
more.
those books were more than 80. What I
Yeah, I was
know,
going to
more
say
than
that there
80.
was a huge amount of them. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
According my knowledge, more than 80, according my knowledge.
So whether we like it or not, whether we have certain agree with the belief systems or not, this is probably the best that we can do regarding history. But we also have.
Sorry, I don't want to get into Bible. Just we are sidetracking, but go back there. So
Let me finish, because I do have a train of thought here. So
okay.
all right, so it's just like, this is the closest thing that we had. So we can use the Bible for certain points of history because of names, dates, and locations of where they existed, as well as then there's like Josephus, Tacitus, and there's a bunch of there's others that also collected historical accounts, in Greece and so forth afterwards. So, but a lot of them go back, and kind of give us a hint of what happened. So here, the story, Akkadians were mentioned in Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible, right? The Old Testament.
Yes, that's true.
And so you see the Epic of Gilgamesh, which they have information about that. Now take a look at this right here. Here's Naram Sin, which they mentioned in the game. So Naram Sin existed.
So
right?
you think it is not, or you are saying that it is not just some sort of random whoever character, but
Right.
legitimate person, right?
Yeah, and here,
Okay.
there's Sargon of the Akkadians. He was one of the most famous of all the Akkadians that we know about. Maybe not to them, he wasn't the best leader, but for some reason they made mention, and whoever gets written in history, or they say the ones that win are the ones that have more history written about them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Now look at
Yes.
this, the Gutian kings. There they are.
Oh
So
man.
this is
Man.
not fabricating the story. And here is Kudian, or was the dynasty that came of power in
Sorry
Mesopotamia.
for interrupting you. I know it's not correct, but we are just saying, I'm talking to you, all of our listeners, that this game is not just quotes in quotes video game. It's let's say validated from two sources. First, I know all the characters. I know all of them are real. They are real people. They've got families, friends, relatives, all kind of those things. I can I can validate that mailman is black ops slash spats ops, military unit, army unit. And once we are getting to the, let's say, intro or prologue of the game, this is your let's say addition to the whole game, and it is total different aspect, but another positive confirmation that it is not just some sort of random game. Do you know what I mean? Like in the standing in the line in the row of the bunch of the games. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And so here, you see that in the game they talk about a conflict with the Gudians, and so we'll take a look at that real quick.
Okay.
they became in power in Mesopotamia in 2199 to 2019 BC, after displacing the Akkadian Empire, and there it is. They actually take over the Akkadian Empire, just like in the story of
Yes,
the information
exactly.
of the video game. And here is Naram Sin. Let's take a look at Naram Sin. He was the successor grandson of King Sargon of the Akkadians. And I just want to say something really quick. I've had interactions with Aldebaran, and they didn't like Sargon. They told me, they called him a usurper. So, and a usurper is someone that's just taking over something that doesn't belong to them. So I thought that was very, very interesting that they had a conflict with him in the past.
Okay.
Also, I had a lifetime. I had a few lifetimes in this early history that I have full recall of, and one is my lifetime as Ishtar, which was also this sister of Ereshkigal.
You told me multiple times. Yep.
And also Semiramis was another one that, you know, I've discussed, particularly with the Andronetalks transmissions. And Semiramis gets blamed for a lot of things because of the Roman Catholic Church and everything else that was associated. But anyhow, I do have recall about it. I have had experience and have existed in this time period. So some of them are very familiar, and I have seen the Akkadians, and I have talked about the Akkadians in the past couple of years through some of my shows, because I would see them. They actually are show up as like pillars, kind of like, or blocks in our society. They've had different roles or whatever. So somehow their energy had created some kind of energetic field and construct still that existed. And so we've had some different, some of them are not very easy to deal with. But because of that old world thinking, you know, not necessarily that they were evil, but the old world of thinking. In the video game, I believe he has a gold mask, Naram Sin.
Yeah, that's true.
Which makes him sort of look like, he sort of looks like, at first, I thought that the character was trying to point out, say, Zoroaster.
Yes, Zoroastrian. Yes, yes, you are right.
So he sort of looked like Zoroaster with like a gold mask. And let's see the ancient images of him, if they show that. Kind of like this, where they have the long beard and the hat. And so this culture is, there's, I don't know if you want to call it a bleed through reality, Peter, or that there's still
definitely bleed through reality. And if you can see, just we can roll just a little bit more to the top. Mm-hmm. If you can see, we can see Nazi symbology. They stole it. Look at that. No, just roll to the bottom, please. Yeah, look at that.
I'm trying to see which one you're pointing at right here.
Yep, this definitely you can make it. Yes, look at that.
Yeah, well, yep. I've seen other things that they have that have. All right, so they were not the first ones. So the Nazis stole some of the artifacts from here. Is that correct?
Definitely.
Yeah. And this is maybe even some of the power objects, artifacts and things from this part of the world. And that's why we continually have problems here.
Yeah, that's it.
See what they call him, the first magician.
Yeah.
He had the what is it, the water that continues to run, you know, like the like infinite water.
Yes, infinite water. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And here's interesting too, these symbols right here. You see that a lot, and the multiple stars.
And just by the way, those symbols, as you say, they are frequently used in army, like army ranks. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
true. Yeah.
How many of those symbols you've got, the higher you got, the more you have them, the higher your rank is.
And you also see this like the sun god type of thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they put the sun behind them. And
Yep.
this also stars, so they're on multiple stars.
Yep.
Is that
Yep.
time travel? Or what is
Oh,
it?
of
What are
course,
they
of
implying
course,
there?
of course. You are right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So even
Yeah.
though
Yeah.
they're here, they're from another time place, and then they come in and influence an entire society. All right, so here's Naram Sin. And you can see they have all their different epics and things that they did. And then
Do you
they
know
have,
what this writing system? Oh, holy crap! This is so complex. And now we are making proud that we can write something. Not a chance. Look at that, how complicated it is. Jesus,
yeah,
look at
and
that.
that's it broken down.
Yep.
So that temple I excavated, its ancient foundation stone I sought, 15 square cubits. I dug down the foundation stone of Naram Sin, the son of Sargon, which of 3,200 years no king my predecessor had seen. They were impressed with him. He had this gold mask in the video game, so he looked like he was depicting a god.
Yep.
And was it Enlil that had a problem with him? Was it Enlil?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Enlil, he's an Anunnaki.
Yeah. You are right. Yeah. Uh-huh. He is. He was. But technically, yes, you are right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
let's get out
that?
of this. It's a site that's not sharing. There you go. And there's
He
Enlil.
definitely is Anunnaki. Yeah. 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 You are right.
So he's the reason why they had the conflicts with the Gudians, right?
Yeah.
And you see, here's these gods like Marduk that we hear about all the time, and
Oh man. Of all the time. Yep.
so first attested to be the chief deity of the Sumerian pantheon being multiple gods, and then he was later worshipped by the Akkadians. There's the Akkadians, then the Babylonians, Assyrians, and the Hurrians. And probably still today, there are some that still worship him. His cult fell into decline after Nippur was sacked by the Elamites in 1230 BC. Was eventually supplanted as the chief god of the Mesopotamian pantheon of Babylonian nation god Marduk. And then the Babylonian god Bel was a syncretic deity of Enlil's brother Enki, Enki's son Marduk, and the shepherd deity Tamuzid. And so that you have all of this, and you're looking at all this information, and here's the moon god Nana, the underworld deities, probably Ereshkigal's in there too,
Oh no!
and you can
Don't
see
talk
all of
about
them.
the Rishka girl. She's pain in the ass. Jeez.
Yeah, she is a pain in the ass. So you just sort of,
So
and
hold
they
on a
still come
second.
up, by the way.
You believe that effect is that so many people are not people, but like get entity. I mean, talking about females. Get into females, and that's the reason why they are so physically strong. I mean, I'm talking because they are possessed by Rishka girl. You mean?
Well, Ereshkigal will use somebody if they're in a lower vibrational consciousness, and because that they're open.
Can you explain it? What do you mean lower vibrational?
Maybe they're fractured, they have trauma, they have problems with substances, they are
You mean like
dabbling in the
alcohol,
occult.
drugs, or whatever?
Yeah,
Alcohol,
and
drugs.
also if they're dabbling in the occult, or they have high levels of jealousy, which is a very dark energy. or hatred, or murders, whatever. And
Okay.
entities like that will find it very comfortable to go in their body.
So you mean because those people are weak and weakened by something?
Yeah, and they provide a good vessel, and especially if they're somewhat attractive, they're more appealing. That's why they choose younger people on many occasions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, if at any time a person, if they still have their soul intact and they're not completely sold out, then they can regain control of this influence. But usually they'll use the body, they'll misuse the body because they don't really feel like the body's important to them. And then they leave, and then they'll find something else. So you get, somewhat used and beat up, and, you have serious issues. But Ereshkigal is the queen of hell, or the underworld. And so that, you don't really know what you're going to get from that. And even in my interaction with him in the past, but although I can still have had recent conflicts with her in the astral. So she still will try to say or do something, and it's a little bit of a tug of war because she can't harm me, but on the other hand, she causes problems around, for not just for me but for many people.
Including me, just by the way.
Including you, yeah. And she's very much a seductress too. She can make herself look very beautiful, but that's not exactly what she looks like.
What do you mean, seductress?
Seductress, sexual invitation for sexual encounters. But very,
what
very.
do you mean she's not attractive? Like, I don't
That's
know.
not really what she looks like. She uses different bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think something happened to her, so she's not necessarily the way she looked. And I'm incarnated, so it's different, But I mean, my soul has had all these different experiences, but I'm, who I am, but I'm in a different body as well. And so you see that these some of these characters, like Marduk, I've seen him in the astral, and Zoroaster plenty of times, and he's very difficult too because he sees himself as the god of the earth.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had that experience with him, but he's very.
No. Give me a second. I'm just saying okay because I'm following you. I've got no knowledge about that.
But he's like a master magician as well, and I've seen him.
And give me a second. Are you considering it as a white? That means good, or black as bad magic?
It's interesting. I think he brought it in. I think he brought in magic.
You mean like magic as the whole problematic-ish stuff? Like,
it depends on what, some people are able to use magic to work with the earth in different ways. I think I don't like it that he altered things in the earth, but on the other hand, some of the things that he did bring in were interesting. And I remember seeing like these large. I saw him, he has like this class that he brings people into, and it's usually this like a white building, and it has like a simple table, and there's usually these
let's say basic equipment, very basic.
Yes.
Okay.
And you stand inside the building.
Give me a second. I know few of them. I mean, those kind of stone made whatever we can see right now on the, not only in this particular picture, but on the previous pictures. What I can remember is fact that I saw that certain animals, and I don't want to say animals only, but I don't know, insects and whatever, that they make them huge. And I'm talking huge.
Yes.
Again, I don't know, 100 feet spider or whatever, or I don't know, like 250 or 300 feed a huge anaconda or whatever. And I was like, what in the world is that? This is next level shoot. Do you know what I mean?
So what they would do
And
is
just
they'd
by the
have,
way, speaking anaconda, just by the way, and I was like, what in the world you just did? And it was like, I was just hungry. Oh, jeez. And you eat that cow. Hey, it was just small one, and I was hungry, so shut the heck up. That was the random convo with speaking snake. Jeez, man.
well, yeah, they do communicate.
No, but I'm just saying how the heck will this if I will say this experience to someone, and now I will, I will start to talk about that.
Well, have you seen those spaces where it's a building, it looks like it's really small, but it's very large on the inside? You know
Of
what I'm
course,
talking about?
of
Yeah,
course, I am going regular to those, yeah, to those spaces. Why?
because that's the kind of stuff that Zoroaster brought in. It's
I know
the
about that. I know about that. It's not a big deal. We are using this technology. I know it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and he did it without the type of maybe it's a different type of technology, but it definitely showed people how to work with the elements. And he would create these. It looked like Adobe. You know what Adobe is? Is sort of like that clay, white clay that they use.
Yeah.
Very small building. On the inside, there's a very simple table, and then they have like a pyramid shape, a circle, like a sphere. All different like geometric shapes. And
Mm-hmm.
the people would stand there. There'd be a window. They'd stand there with these shapes, and I've watched them do this multiple times. And
I
and the
know what you are
student,
talking. I know
this
what you are talking about. Those pupils, those students.
yes, yeah, and they would stand there inside this room because they would work out of this room, and on the outside they would create these enormous shapes. They
Yeah,
would move them
I
and
know,
do
I
all
know, I
different
know.
things.
Yeah. I know what you
They
are
would
talking
train
about.
like that. Yeah, it was crazy, and I watched him do it. I watched
Do
him
you
do a
know
few
what?
different
This
things.
actually doesn't make it. This didn't surprise me because I'm like, okay, I know what this is about. Yeah. I know what this is about.
But they also did like explosive stuff too, and that's where you see some of these like I think that some things people think are meteors, I think were explosions from experiments that they did way back.
Yeah, yeah.
Not I
Like
mean some of them are
bleed-throughs, time
meteors, but
space bleed-throughs. I know. Yeah, I know.
yeah, but I think that he would pull people out in these Zoroastrian schools and train them in really unusual ways, so that's the core of our early the magic, the magicians, the druids, and all that stuff. I think it all came back.
Druids, from my point of view, when not the most, then definitely one of the most high advanced, and not only like magic-ish sort of way, but technologically. Because if you can see I don't want to say but the remains of Stonehenge, that was crazy. You can use it as a teaching class for creating, for crafting, I don't know, like all kind of materials, whatever. And just by the way, we in ACIO created, of course not we, but with help of from certain ET, I mean like extraterrestrial species, we created perfect copy in another context of existence. And I was like, what in the world is that? In certain conditions, I don't want to get too much into details. They created perfectly stable atomic reactor. I mean, like nuclear power plant reactor, like
Yes,
zero chance to explode, to have certain, I don't know, like catastrophe or failure, whatever. And I was like, what in the world is that? So literally free energy or whatever. And but of course, fact is that that wasn't Stonehenge, quote Stonehenge. Let's say the exact proportions and the ratios was fixed. We did the same, but in much larger scale. But we fixed all kind of proportions, ratios, and do you know what I'm trying to say? Or yes, this is just, yeah, by the way.
Yeah, it's not necessarily Stonehenge, but we're getting back to Shiva again, because we talked about Shiva earlier. And they're talking about the Shiva Lingam, the Shiva Ling, which is nothing but some people believe it's connected to the nuclear reactors. And they have history showing that there was some kind of nuclear activity during his time here.
Definitely, no doubt about that. I am positively conforming that this is not story, because story can be, how can I say, like made up, faked, or whatever. This is not story. This is this really happened. This is based on true, how can I say it, true, actual, real, call it as you like, events. Okay, this is it. What you just open this site. But I'm just saying how it works, or how it worked, let's say, with Stonehenge. I'm just saying, and that's the stuff that we don't have. I mean, we've got certain 2 or 3 main topics or whatever, but the fact is we can sidetrack what is certain, like it has certain,
there's a connection to it, yeah,
to it, and we are covering much more very interesting fields of information, and that's it, wisdom and knowledge. Do you know what? That was crazy. I was like, what in the world is forming inside this smaller inner circle of Stonehenge? And it was making itself like a solid material, like blocks and whatever. And I was like, what in the world is that?
So they were actually making the stones that are used there?
No. It itself. I mean, we made a solid copy of Stonehenge, but it wasn't solid like the exact same stuff. But let's say we make it much larger, but we fixed the, let's say, the ratios and all kind of do you know what I'm trying to say? We make it much larger, but the concept was absolutely the same. Ratios, angles, and all kind of that stuff. And it was like, what in the world is that? It was some sort of like small, extremely small eclipse, very rare because it was partial. And I was like, what is that? And it was like buzzing sound, and I was like, it will explode. And like, no, it's fine. I was like, no, it is not fine. And there are those cables, like transformation systems and cables. And I was like, this is reactor, guys. And that was it. It made itself reactor inside the smaller, the inner circle. Or I don't know. It start to create something like the Glocke. Yeah. Exactly.
So what I want to do is get the actual picture, because if you look at, it's a circular, kind of like Stonehenge.
Yeah, so this is it what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Let's see if I can get images.
Yeah, this is it.
You see that it's like I'm looking for the exact. It's circular. Here it is.
Yep, this is it. What I'm talking about. I mean, of course, this is from stuff, but not actual.
Not actual, but that's the. Here it is.
Yeah.
And this is in Poland.
Yep. But this is it. How it works. Technically worked.
Yep. So you look over it.
Because it actually worked, just by the way.
Yeah, it's the same continent, and they got this from Stonehenge?
Or they
already knew it?
Let's say they were heavily inspired by that. Yeah, let's say it that way. Yep.
Hear the sound that they're making when they're doing it?
Yeah.
See that?
Weird.
Is that the sort of a sound that it makes?
Yeah. So this is it. I'm just saying all kind of crazy stuff. I don't know. They created huge, I mean, like tremendous amounts of chernozem. It's specific Slavic word for the most effective soil. You can get the most, let's say, crop of anything. I don't know, like
you increase the mineral content of the soil?
Yeah. I don't know, like the rye, the corn, or whatever you will get, or poppy, or whatever you will see it there. So this is it, and every single stuff in certain specific, I mean, under certain specific circumstances, you get, and it will work. It will work. Believe me or not, that's true. It's, jeez, it's so crazy.
So yeah, I mean, all right. So we covered this ancient Sumerian part of it, and now I wanted to bring up the whole thing about vampires. Here's
Go
another
ahead.
group that people don't believe exist, and I've been talking about this, and I have information regarding Saint Germain because I communicated with Saint Germain, and he told me that I guess elderflower is one of the remedies that helps or protects people. And there's that liqueur that I have recommended to people as the Saint Germain liqueur, but it has elderflower. But you can get a tea or whatever. But probably, I don't know, Peter, to keep away these energies, because technically they're predators and they get hungry. And so, and I have had plenty of clients with bite marks. So I don't know.
But what are your thoughts? Why do you think so many people don't believe it? I mean, about the existence, or they are doubting about the existence.
Well, they're astral beings, so they're not necessarily seeing them, but also some of them are here. They're moving through human
like
bodies.
In human form, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they hide. Okay. A lot of them hide, or maybe they enjoy more the night. I don't know if as regarding the lore is that they burn up from the sunlight. I don't know about that, but I do know that they just prefer the nightlife because it's where they can hide some of their activities. And
okay.
Yeah. They talk about it, the belief on the 18th century of pre-existing folk belief in the Balkans. And so and of course we know about some of the vampire stuff.
Dracula, for example.
But he's not the only one. And then it actually became popular because of some of the TV shows for the younger generations. And they had this Camilla, who's related to, I think this was Irish author, talked about it. And then of course there's Bram Stoker and all that. But I mean, we all know about this type of stuff. I've been talking about it for years. Here, look at, they mentioned Serbia.
Of course.
German, French literature, German literature. I've seen a bunch of them in France. And but they can move through. They can come into our space. The very old ones, because they're immortals, right? And they can move through our space. And look at this. And the notion of vampirism has existed for millennia. Cultures such as Mesopotamia, the Hebrews, the ancient Greeks, everything that I just said earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, give me a second. I've got no doubt about you.
I mean, some people say, oh, you know, I'm in my lab, I have bite marks and everything. I'm like, well, either it's my lab or it's vampires, and the vampires, you know, like they have to be fed. So, and they find someone that has good
So
genetics
give me
or
a second. It's something like, I don't know, like wolves or whatever, or pumas, whatever.
yeah,
Okay. I mean cougars, sorry, my bad.
they can,
Oh,
you know, you can wake up and have bite marks, and you know, in your sleep you're getting attacked.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So, and you know, I don't know if you have any old ancient way of protecting yourself, you know, in your sleep. Maybe you want to share it with people because it's probably a good time to do that.
Yeah, poppy seeds, as you can see. Yeah.
Poppy
And
seeds and like the green tea as
yeah,
well.
but give me a second. Onion, I know it stinks. It's not good, but onion is good too. And and like garlic. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I found out that the elderflower helps as well, and I think because Saint Germain got caught up with connected to the vampires at one point, and then he pulled away. He tried to do the right thing, and then he tried to help us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's an immortal as well. And the reason why I brought this up is because let's see, in the House of Ashes, we have see if we can find the vampires here. So they talk about these vampires, and in this storyline, in the plot, the vampires show up in ancient Sumeria first, right? They show up from another planet.
Yes, that's true.
So they're a
Correctly.
species, according to. So there are species that come from another
Give
place.
me a second. Not according. I can 100%ly validate that they are species, not according or something. No, it is 100% positive that they are species, much older than humans. Just by the way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm going to see if, and so they came in during the time of, maybe they came in before then, but in this storyline, they came in during the ancient time of ancient Sumeria, and they started to infest the area where Naram Sin had that conflict with Enlil and the Gutians in the battle, and then it brings into the future, into the later time where at some point the earth has covered over this temple, and when they've collapsed down in there, these vampires that came from way back then are still existing and living underground by where the temple was.
That's another true information. Yep.
So, Peter, did you have any encounter with any of them?
Yep. In personal life too. Yeah.
Okay, here they are. I know they're in here somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
They're the antagonists. They're the third installment of the Dark Pictures of Anthology. They are dead bat-like aliens or humans whose nervous system are controlled by alien parasites. And they say they're humans because the humans end up getting infected by their blood through the bite, and then they actually mutate.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think that they are humans. No.
Not the original ones.
Nope.
Right.
No.
They sort of look like, let's see if the picture comes, sort of look like bats. Let's see if I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see if we get some images here. You know, you see the wings.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, for the people, for them to see what it looks like.
Okay, sorry for that.
And so you have this like multi-layered experience of, and the reason why the old world, we'll say Iraq, Iran, is tricky is because of the ancient stuff that's there and all the ancient aliens that came and visited that location early on, and then later on, some of them still existing, some of them having artifacts, and also different types of, this is, I think, the gold mask that we see, Sim. Yeah. But that's not the vampire that I was looking for. But anyhow, you'll see them. You'll see them in the game. And but yeah, I agree that they were not originally humanoid, but they kind of had integrated the human experience. Yeah. You can see like their face. That's not a humanoid face.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So where would you like to go from here? Because I do have,
from my point of view, I think that's good point to stop. So okay. I just want to say thank you very much for another opportunity to be on your channel, and I think that this was very good and informative part 3 of our mini series. What do you think?
I think so too. And I had something I was going to share, and what I'll do is I'll share it the next show that we have.
Okay.
But there is, I think that we covered some information, and we wanted to bring in a little bit more in depth that our world is very complex. A lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on and why we're having problems around the planet. It's not really one problem, it's multiple problems. So for example, Dark Fleet.
Please, we just get in depth in next episode. What do you think, huh?
Right. No, but I'm just saying that this is a final overview that, we're bringing up what's going on with Dark Fleet and how it's bringing this information in. But at the same time, you have ancient beings from earlier history that are also influencing our world. So it becomes very complex. So you can't just wave a wand and everything goes away, or snap a finger and it's resolved.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So that's why the ACIO sees this as a complex situation, and it's important for humanity to understand what they're involved with and how difficult or what to look at regarding, so there isn't any illusion. So Peter, you did a great job in always bringing up information about what is happening at the current time, even though it's usually ahead of what everyone else recognizes. And I thank you for doing that always. And even though, and I appreciate your time, because I know that you have been very busy, but I'm glad that you were able to spend some time with us today.
Okay, so thank you very much, and I'm looking forward for next time. Bye-bye.
All right, and we will see you next time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your help with Patreon. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to look at some of our news channels and some of the other things from the Andronetalks series and the ACIO website. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Marrocco. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Visit www.acio-agency.org and www.readingsbyarael.com. Post your questions and comments below. We look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to support our work. All links can be found in the description. Thank you.